Hi there, my name is Paula Sturm, and I am a registered dietitian, a functional medicine nutritionist, and owner of Radically Nourished. And in today's tip, I want to talk about meal prepping and how it is important and why, and some tips and tricks to get it done. Because I know this can save a lot of people time, but I know it's also overwhelming for people to start doing. So let's talk about some ways to get this done. So, what we're going to talk about today is why meal prep matters. We're going to talk about some strategies for effective meal prepping. And we're also going to talk about some unique prep tips to help keep it exciting. And then I'll give you a few little tips on overcoming some common challenges that can happen when we're meal prepping. All right. So, why meal prep matters? It helps save time and energy. Prepping meals in advance reduces daily cooking stress and decision fatigue. And if we have to come home every day and decide what are we going to eat for dinner, it gets exhausting. And so we want to make sure that we can come home, already know what's going to happen. We have it all planned out, and that's going to save you so much mental fatigue, especially throughout the week, by just having some things prepped that we'll talk about here. Meal prepping also supports your health goals. It makes it easier to eat balanced, nutritious meals, avoiding the temptation of unhealthy choices or just going and grabbing something and eating out. And speaking of that, it helps save money. Pre-planning and bulk preparation reduce food waste and unnecessary takeout expenses. So there's lots of really great reasons to meal prep. So here are some strategies for effective meal prepping. You want to start with a plan because a clear plan really helps ensure that you have all the ingredients you need and prevents midweek burnout. You can do this by choosing 2 to 3 recipes for the week that use overlapping ingredients, so you're not buying multiple things that you might end up throwing away later. Plan for variety to avoid getting bored, and use a calendar to assign meals to specific days. And there's lots of different apps you can use for this. Some apps, like the AnyList app that I use, has a grocery list area, has a meal plan area where you can put things in for the week so you know what you're having. And it also can take recipes and import them and help populate your grocery list. So I love that app as a tool. And then there's even some cookbooks that will help with meal prepping. Like they give you the entire week. All right, here's the plan for the week, and here's what you can do to prep. What can you prep ahead? What can you prep components of it? What do you want to prep or cook at the moment? And so there's books actually like that that can help you with the strategy and get you going. Number two here is batch cook key ingredients, because cooking staples like grains, proteins, vegetables in bulk saves time during the week, and you get the majority of the time consuming things out of the way. So you could roast a variety of vegetables on one tray in the oven while you're cooking and making something else, like cooking a pot of rice on the stove. You have two things going, both you're going to save, and then you're going to use in the moment through the week. Roasting a pan of vegetables like sweet potatoes, broccoli, carrots, cauliflower, those types of things, and then you can use them in multiple different ways. Cooking grains like quinoa or rice and store those in the fridge once they're cooked. Sometimes things like brown rice take almost an hour to cook, and sometimes that time is prohibitive in the evening when you get home at 6:30 and you don't want to wait until 7:30 for the rice to be done. Try grilling or baking a batch of chicken or tofu or tempeh and having those things in the oven ready to, or in the fridge ready to use. Number three, use multiple purpose ingredients. Versatile ingredients reduce the need for excessive prep while maximizing your flavor. You can, again, choose those making roasted vegetables that you can use in grain bowls. You can put them in wraps or in soups. So you have that pan of roasted vegetables that you can use multiple different ways. Having something like a rotisserie chicken that you bought from the store that you can then rip off pieces for salads or tacos or pasta dishes. And this way you've just have a few different ingredients that you're using multiple different ways. That's time saving, money saving, and sanity saving. And then try pre-portioning your snacks and meals. So having grab and go options eliminates the need for last minute decisions. If you have something already made, you're more likely to grab that than you are to start digging around in the cabinet for a bag of chips or going to fast food or something on that order. So try dividing up your nuts, fruits, veggies into snack size bags or containers, pre-portion meals into individual containers for easy reheating, grabbing and taking to lunch so you're not spending money on lunch or grabbing fast food at lunch. And then invest in quality containers because proper storage keeps food fresh longer and makes transport easier. I like to use glass containers for reheating, storing food in plastic. That plastic is going to leach into your food. And then if you have to reheat it in a microwave, then extra plastic contamination in your food. So try to use glass containers and choose stackable containers to save space in your fridge as well. And there's lots of options for those things nowadays. And then embrace freezer friendly options because freezing meals ensures you always have something ready and on hand, even on busy days. So if you literally have zero time for any prep at night, if you have some soup already in individual containers in the freezer, you can pull those out and thaw them really quickly. Or if you know that it's going to be a busy night, pull them out the day ahead, put them in the fridge, let them thaw. Then you're ready to dump it into a pan and cook on the stove, or if you need to, throw it in the microwave. So those things are great to have on hand on really busy, crazy nights, having something stashed in the freezer. And try using silicone muffin trays to freeze sauces or smoothie packs to make those things easier for you as well. And then you want to schedule that prep time. Uh, if we don't have a plan, even something scheduled on our calendar of when we're going to do this, then it oftentimes doesn't get done. So treat meal prep as an important appointment to ensure that it gets done. All right, I'm going to put this on the calendar that Saturday morning I'm going to get my week prepped, and then Sunday I'm going to do the cooking. So have that time scheduled, and then dedicate 1 to 2 hours on the weekend or on an evening to prep for the week and break it up into manageable chunks, like chopping vegetables in the morning and cooking at night, maybe doing the planning of what you're going to do the day ahead, and then the shopping the next day and the cooking that day. So decide what is going to be manageable for you. All right, so here are some unique meal prep tips. Try having themed prep days. So choose a theme like Taco Tuesday or Stir Fry Fridays or something like that to make planning fun and simplify. So you always know you're going to have tacos on Tuesday. You don't have to think of reinvent the wheel or think of something totally different on Tuesdays. You know it's going to be a taco. Maybe you just have an array of different types of tacos that you have on Tuesdays, and it just keeps it easy that way. And then prep components, not full meals. So prepping elements like cooked chicken, grains, sauces gives you flexibility to mix and match meals throughout the week, but you have the hard work done already. The cooking, the time-consuming part is already done. Maybe you have everything cut up and chopped. You have some raw vegetables chopped that you can also mix into some of those bowls or wraps that you're going to have for the week. And then try labeling everything. Write the meal name and prep date on the containers to avoid mystery leftovers and stay organized, especially if you're going to store anything in the freezer. If you just have, and I've done this before, where you put things in the freezer, like, what is this? Is this tomato soup or is this tomato sauce? I have no idea because I didn't label it. My bad. And sometimes it gets to the bottom of the freezer and you have no idea how long it's been there. So having the date and the name of what it is on the container will be helpful. And then try keeping a flavor toolkit. Stock up on sauces, spices, and condiments to quickly elevate your prepped meals. A good sauce can transform plain rice and veggies into something exciting. So having a pesto that you prepared, or maybe you buy a sauce just to keep it easy, that can be something that really just transforms your meals. And some common challenges that can occur. So sometimes there's not enough variety, and then we get sick of what we're making. And then that, because we're sick of everything that we're eating, then we tend to just divert to eating out in those cases. So rotate different cuisines. So while you're prepping and planning for your week, maybe you decide, all right, well, I want to make sure I have something Mediterranean flavored or seasoned, Asian, Mexican, whatever it is. Make sure that there's different flavor profiles coming through your cuisine throughout the week. And this will keep meals exciting. Sometimes prepping seems too time consuming. So focus in on shortcuts like pre-chopped vegetables, like the store has already done for you. All right, that squash is already cut and prepped. I don't have to do that part. That will make then throwing the cooked portion of the meal together quicker. And then choose store-bought sauces. If you don't have time to make a pesto, choose a store-bought one instead. And then sometimes people can feel overwhelmed by quantity. So start small. Prep just one meal for that week if you need to. Start there. All right, I did it. Wasn't too bad. Now I'm going to prep two until you get comfortable with it. So I hope these tips helped with your meal planning and prep.